right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Open Spaces with Siera Vernice. And I am excited because I have been recording back to back with guests. Y'all gonna be mad at me because I don't have no solo episodes and y'all not getting none. Y'all not getting none, not right now. It's too many people I connected with. Y'all, I was just saying that on TikTok Live because I'm also streaming on live. If you are a business owner or if you're trying to connect with other people, get on Threads. When I tell you, that post is still blowing up. That post is still going. I'm like, it's too many people. Like, I don't even need this many people. But I made sure that I stay in alignment with the people that I felt would resonate with the audience and also with me. So today I have a guest here. Her name is Tanisha Shanee. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm going to get into your intro and everything. I just want to introduce the episode. So we are talking about unlearning to realign, because sometimes we have to rewrite those stories, because those stories that we have in our life that we go through, they're holding us back a little bit. So we're going to dive into that, and I'm super excited because I know we're going to get into like family patterns, childhood trauma, survival methods and mindsets. I know it's just going to be a great conversation. I just know it. You might be my favorite one. I'm not I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna be biased. But you will be episode 3 of season 9. Unfiltered Alignment is the name of the season. And I feel like with this season is going to be a lot of raw conversations about healing, growing, and being true to ourselves. So I wanted to make sure I got different perspectives other than like me and my friends. So that's why I put that post out there. And I was like, I need to connect with some people who would really feel connected to this episode or to the season, and have each individual episode of different people. So I'm going to introduce Tanisha. She is a motivational speaker and a teacher and a voice for unlearning the narratives that keep us stuck. And I'm very grateful to have connected with you. We're going to plug all her information where y'all can connect with her at the end of the episode. But I just wanted to make sure that we set the scene, set the stage, let everybody know who's here. I do have a little quick vibe check. I like to start my episode where I kind of ask the person to either introduce themselves, but I feel like my intro was pretty good. So I want to ask you a question to start off. What version of yourself, I know you said you were taking a nap, so even if it has to do something with you kind of waking up, but I want to ask you, what version of yourself showed up today?
The version of me that showed up today was the little flustered Tanisha, but that's expected when you anticipate a 30-minute nap and it turns into a little hour and some change. But I feel good. I feel amazing. I really was looking forward to this conversation and being here with you. So I'm happy that God woke me up and was like, get up, get up, get up.
Yeah, you got something to do, get up. No, I feel that. I feel that. And I was telling Tanisha before we started recording that I had that same moment this morning when I was supposed to get up at 9:30 and I woke up and it was 10:50 and I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And I will say, just me being full-time entrepreneur, I do have a part-time job, but it's a part-time job. So it's like me being a full-time entrepreneur, business owner, it is a struggle because sometimes I need naps. Sometimes I need a break. I can't go full through. And I'm a firm believer in even when it comes, and I love a job because the job going to pay me some money. But even the 9 to 5 thing, there's no way I'm working 8 hours straight. I promise you, a couple of moments out of them 8 hours, I'm taking a break. I need a little zone.
I work remote, and once in a while, I would take a lunch nap. Like,
yeah, like I believe in that.
I don't need to eat. I'm gonna take a nap.
Yeah, full 8 hours of doing work is just not true. I refuse to believe, unless you're like a server or something like that. But even still, it's yeah, no. Okay, so let's get into. 'Cause I can sit here and have a conversation about taking naps all day long. So let's get into it. So at first, I want to talk about your healing and also your unlearning story. So the first question that I want to ask you is, what was the first moment when you start to realize that you were living either by someone else's narrative or just really not living in your true self?
The first time I realized that I was living someone else's narrative was when I realized that I was like so angry all the time, and why I was always angry, and where did I get that from? And I got that from one of the closest people to me, my mom.
Yeah.
reactive to everything, spasming to everything. And I just carried that with me. And when I started my healing journey, I realized like a lot of that had to stop because it wasn't healthy. It was causing a lot more harm to myself, to people around me. When I realized when I started to heal, I remember calling the people closest to me and apologizing, like, how did y'all tolerate me? Like I was always going from 0 to 100, 2.2 seconds. And that
Yeah.
was really when I realized like it was tied to I saw how she responded, and I
Yeah.
felt like that was okay because that's what I saw. So that was really the first time that I realized I was like carrying someone else's habits, and then it kind of just opened up the floodgates to other things that I revealed, and but that was like the aha moment for me.
Okay, and I can agree. I don't think it was necessarily like you said, yours was more so anger. I feel like for me, when it came to just the way I talk to people, just the way I have conversation, this could be romantic, platonic. My mom was the same way. Like she was the impact for me because I start to realize that oh, people say that I'm mean, and it's like I don't really want to be mean. But when I realized why they were saying I was mean, which was more so because the way that I talked, the way that I came off, and I'm still kind of working on it because I'll sit and have conversations with my mom now or tell her something, and it'll be like very dismissive, very like you're not acknowledging my feelings, or just so years of thinking that that is the proper way to deal with interpersonal relationships, and I'm like now no, like there's no way I want to, because at the end of the day, like yes, you could put good out into the world, but if you are treating the people who you claim that are closest to you and that you love like a bunch of BS, it's like it's like
Mhm.
that's
That's
not
what
right.
it is.
I've even had
Right.
conversations with
That's
my
what it
mom to
is.
kind of tell her, and it's not that she doesn't see it, but some people are kind of just like, oh, I'm working on it, or some people even look at it from the lens of, oh, that's just who I am, and it's like I hate that statement because you don't have to be who you've always been. You can be somebody else.
I fight people with that.
Yeah,
When I really got into it and I really started to, between people saying that's just the way I am, I was born this way because I'm XYZ zodiac. And I'm like, guys, stop. Like, there's any point in your life you can say, I don't like this about myself and I want to change it. Like, we got
absolutely.
to cut it out. You have full control of that. And I love when you said how you communicate with people. That's something that so many people either they don't communicate at all, they shut down, they're avoidant, and it's like, no, we gotta like work on this. And they're like, well, that's just the way that I am. I used to be an avoidant too.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
used to
working on
avoid everything, not just people, everything. It'll be like I would see the problem, and I'm like, mm. And I recently
it.
wrote on Threads like a couple of months ago, and I sent a message to my avoidance. I'm gonna say it here, dear avoidance, it's okay to face it. It's really
Yeah,
not that bad. Like, because I had
that's
to face
it.
that. Like, girl, you have to lose your home because you want to avoid checking your mail. If you don't face this so that you can do what I need you to do, people don't understand those things.
Yeah.
So, look, you can choose to change. You don't have to stay this way. You
Yeah, I'm
don't.
definitely a huge advocate for that too because I tell people all the time I could change and be who I want to be, a new person tomorrow. Like one thing about me, I used to be so scared of change. I used to be like you said, avoiding to go check the mail, knowing you got bills, avoiding to go pick up the pile of clothes that you've been walking past. It's like I would avoid change so much until I realized like it's okay. It's gonna be uncomfortable. It's gonna be scary, but until you go step into that change, you're never gonna know what the outcome's gonna be. You're never gonna know what could be on the other side of change. So I definitely agree. I feel like people gotta get out of that whole I am that's just who I am mentality and oh this who I always been, this is how I'm gonna be. Like no, it's okay. And it's not cool. But again, I also feel like people are so comfortable with being who they are because they're scared to find out who they could be. I feel like that's all it
Right.
is. Like they're just really afraid to see what
Mhm.
the other side looks like.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right. So another question that I have is what was the hardest belief or identity that you had to unlearn?
That I had to be perfect.
Mm.
That is still one of the hardest things that I had to unlearn, because that wasn't even something anyone else put on me. That was what I picked up for myself. And I had that from a little girl, like from daycare. Like that's how I tell people, I'm like, a perfectionist mindset doesn't operate like anyone else. So, people will look at me and they're like, I want to be like you accomplished all. And I'm like, you don't want to be like me, because up until maybe like 25, it was like goals, 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 goals. Set a goal, hit it. Set a goal, hit it. I never gave myself space to enjoy it. I never gave myself space to like see like how it really manifests into something amazing. It was just like, all right, you hit the goal. What's the next one? What's the next one?
Yeah.
And that was one of the hardest things to learn, because it's like you're missing out on the finer things in life. You're missing out on just being able to go sit outside in the sun, or go sit by the water and just listen. People have fought with me tooth and nails, like it's okay not to get 100, and I'm like, no, but I can't get a 99. I need to get 100. And it's just like that was one of that is, and I keep saying it is, because I constantly fight, and it's just like,
Yeah.
don't get started until you have everything. Like right now, my deck is getting done. Let me say that, it's getting done, because it's getting done right. It's no longer there. And when he
Mm-hmm.
told me the price, and I was just like, all right, I gotta have all this. Okay, I gotta make this. All right, I gotta have my mom. My sister's like, but you got the money. And I was just like, no, but I need more, because I can't take that out. And she's like, girl, you about to drive yourself. She was like, you just let it happen. And
Mm-hmm.
thankfully he called me and was like, you don't need all the money. You don't need any money. I would get started. You don't even need to give me anything. It's okay, Tanisha. And I'm just like, but that's just the perfectionist in me. Because it's like, I want
Yeah.
to make sure I don't owe you nothing. Because, it's like when you get into a space where you stop owing people stuff, you don't want to owe people. So you just be like, how can I pay this? Because I don't ever want that feeling of like, oh, she's doing this and she could have paid me back. No. So it's
Right.
just a constant battle. But that has been, the more I let go, the better I feel.
Yeah.
The more I let go, the more like, that's why I say up to 25. And it kind of was fuzzy for a little bit, because I still was kind of in denial. But like 30, 31, 32, that's when I started to just kind of like slowly let go. And then in the last 5 years, I'm more like, look, we got to just get started. Like, we don't need it
Yeah.
perfect. We just got to get started. You got to get started. And I would tell other people the same advice, right? And I'm bad
Mhm.
at that. I would tell other people for years, don't wait. You don't need to wait. You don't need to be perfect. I'm telling them that, but I'm up here like, no, I can't leave because I need this. And it's just like,
Yeah.
ooh, we're just talking about it. I'm just like, thank God.
Nah, I feel
But
you
that's one of
because
the
I
hardest
feel
parts.
like I used to be the same way. And it wasn't until probably a couple of years ago, maybe like a year or two ago, honestly, that I felt like that because I feel like I was always a risk taker, but it was certain things that I was kind of subconsciously sitting on because I wanted it to be perfect because, oh, it's not this way. And sometimes I would even scare myself out of situations and going into certain situations because I thought that it wasn't the best type of way. So I can definitely attest to that, especially school. Oh my goodness, my friends literally last year when I went back to school because I'm currently enrolled in for my psychology degree. I'm just doing associates right now, but the end goal is to get my
Okay.
master's. My end goal is really to get my PhD, but it scares me, so I don't want to
See,
think
I
about
already knew. I already knew. See, I already knew that. She said it's really, but I was like, it's really a PhD. Like,
it.
and I get it because I've been there. It's like,
Yeah. So when I started my first semester, I think I got my first C or something on an exam, and I called my best friend. I was like, I'm so sad. She was like, girl, what's your grade for the class? And I was like, I have an A. And she was like, so why are you acting like that? And I'm like, you don't understand. I have to get 100% every time. She's like, it's okay. And I'm like, no, it's not. And I've actually learned that I had that wanting to be so perfect in school from my mom because she kind of set the bar really high for the household because she has 6 degrees. We couldn't come home with no B, with no
Mm,
C's. We had to come home with A's every time. And I literally did that. I
right.
strived all primary and secondary school to do that. So when I went back as an adult to go to school again and I got that C, and I was like, ugh. And it's so funny because I want to say that following semester, I either was like over the class or it was just like I wasn't tripping about it too much. And I was like, you know what, Sarah, you don't have to be perfect in this moment. And my GPA dropped. And then I went to go tell my mom, and she was like, ugh, you don't have a 4.0. And I was just like, see,
Wow.
you the problem. You're the reason why I feel
You're
like I
breaking my
gotta
heart so bad.
overachieve. And I hate that. So yeah, I've definitely experienced the whole trying to be perfect,
Right.
trying, and
Yeah.
it's really not, it's not
Yeah.
a comfortable thing, it's not a cool thing. Like I tell anybody that don't wait for the perfect moment. If you feel like something feels good and you want to do it, just do it. If it shows up and it may
Yeah.
not be your best, then that's okay. Like, because perfect really doesn't exist. Like when people say that
It
as a,
doesn't.
a saying, it's not cliche. It doesn't exist. It's not real.
It doesn't. And when you tell a perfectionist that, like, their initial is like, what are you talking about? But,
Right.
and I wish that, like people blame my mom, and that's the one thing I got to take ownership for. Like, I remember being 4 years old, telling my mother that I wanted to finish high school at 15 because Dr.
Mm,
King finished high school at 15. And and that's all that I knew. I just wanted to be like Dr. King, finished high school at 15 from 4 years old. And my mother's like, we ended up having this conversation when I did graduate at 16. And she was
okay.
like, you were serious? Yes. Like, I told you the game plan, and I don't know why you didn't follow it. She was like, just imagine talking to a 4-year-old and thinking that what a 4-year-old is telling you is the truth. And I was like, I told you, like, I was very clear. Every time they wanted to skip me, she would come and talk to me, and I'm like, yeah, because I want to finish high school at 15. Like, I was doing everything. I was doing my part.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do much because I can't tell the school, skip me. My mother has to approve of this. So that's the one thing I can't put that on her. Because someone had, like, because when I graduated from elementary school, I was the salutatorian. And this was my first time giving a speech, and everybody, there was no dry eyes. Like, the parents was in there crying, everything. And afterwards, the principal came and was like, talk to my mom. Like, you should be ashamed of yourself. She's a child. You should allow her to write her own speech. And my mom is like, I didn't write that speech like she did with Miss Brown, which was my sixth grade teacher. She was like, I had no parts in that. Like, what you heard, the movement that you felt, it was this
Mm-hmm.
little girl. We don't know what happened. And I take full ownership. Like, I tell people, I meet other people that have children like me. One of my supervisors. That's like, sometimes I check in. It's just a little conversation. She's like, what do I do with her? Like, she's just so advanced. Like, she's like super curious. She's asking all these questions, stuff that a child should not be thinking about. She's already making plans about college. And I'm like, yeah, like I said, and take her serious. I said,
Yeah.
do not be like my mom. That's the one. I said, don't be like my mom. Don't think that, oh, she'll grow out of this. I said, because whatever little goal she has in her mind, she's carrying that goal with her. I said, and
Yeah.
she's gonna be in school working because that's what I was doing. I'm gonna finish high school at 15. I'm gonna get these A's. I can finish high school at 15.
Yeah.
And I had to take over in middle school, and that's how I finished at 16 at least. But that's like one of the hardest parts. At least for, like, I can't blame my mama for that one. I mean,
Yeah. That's so.
God really gave me this thing for free.
Yeah, that's so funny because it's kind of like one of those instances where you're, and I don't want to say it's an issue that you're a perfectionist, but one of the traits about you could be so damaging for yourself, like growing up and even being an adult, but it also helped you in the same sense. And I feel like that debate is happening right now, and I'm getting off track, but I feel like I knew this conversation was going to happen like this. Um, I don't know if you've seen the new Michael movie that they made for Michael Jackson, but there's
Yes.
so much bias going on because everybody's like, oh, it was just the Joe and Michael debate and how he was abusive, but how he wanted to get away. And it's like, let's be for real. not for nothing, I don't really advocate for abuse, especially when it comes to like back in the day beating your child. But I'm gonna be 100% for real. If Joe Jackson was not who he was to them kids, they would not be who they are. Like the discipline he
Right.
instilled in them, the way that he made them show up, like not for nothing. Obviously, the abuse was a bit absurd. The way, at least the way that they made it seem. But you know, we don't know that we weren't in their household. But the way he had his foot on their necks, that would not be the product. That would literally not be the product. So it's like sometimes, mm, the perfectionist is like we don't want to be that, but it definitely pushed you to, like you said, graduate high school at 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I think that was like that's a hard conversation because I did see that. I saw where they were like, if they would have listened, if they would have had more parents like Catherine, they would have been soft. Like I think somebody like they would have been soft. Probably not successful. Only person that probably I still would say will probably be successful would be Michael, because
yeah,
Michael just looked like he's just like I'm gonna get this any way possible. Like forget
yeah,
this, especially once he got a taste of it. I think that's the problem. If he got a taste of it, I think he still would have been successful. He would have
yeah,
probably, but he probably would have definitely left. He probably would have left. But I think because how everything played out, he stayed more so because of his mom. At least that's what I got from the two
right.
movies that I watched
Mm-hmm.
growing up. So it's like, okay, yeah, he probably just stayed because of Catherine, but and they was already successful. But yeah, I do think that because Joe was like putting his foot down, and
Yeah.
Joe saw the vision, you know, and unfortunately, we want people to have the vision and the emotional intelligence, and we know
Mm-hmm.
back then they didn't have that, you know. And so I
Yeah.
think what's the balancing part for them was that they did have their mom to kind of like soften it a little bit
Yeah.
from again what we can see, but you know, like you said, but is the sacrifice of the success, you know, when you look at someone like Michael who was hurt by that because of, you know, even now, like I'm not gonna lie, I'm sick of them now. Like, okay, you made money from your brother. I'm sick of them.
Yeah.
I'm really sick
It
of them
is
now because it's
crazy.
like why y'all just doing too much? You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And I love the fact, and look, the fact that they wrote the second one and they told the story the way that it was told, like, yeah, we needed him so we can make money for that tour. Y'all giving off the same energy. Because now
Yeah.
you're about to go on a spree. You're about to do a part two, and I promise you they're gonna probably try to fit in a part three. And it's just like,
Yeah, it's unnecessary. And I will say they made a bunch of money. They still making money. I done seen the movie 3 times at this and not by choice.
no, and I believe it because I know people personally that I've seen it 2 or 3 times. They're
Hmm.
treating it like sinners, which is cool. Like, you know, you want to support,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm just annoyed by that part because I'm just like,
Yeah.
now y'all riding this. Let that man live.
I'm
Let
surprised they
that
ain't make
man
it out of it
let
like a
him be.
TV series.
But see, I already say they're gonna do like they definitely already confirmed part two. I already said they're gonna do a part three because they ended what 1988.
Hmm.
So they ended in the 80s. They
Yeah.
still got until he died. They gonna ride this wave, and
Hmm.
if they get past part two, I'm probably gonna even support it because I'm just like, this is what Michael was talking about. Like, this is
Yeah.
the problem. Like, my father only calls me because I heard a clipping of him telling someone about Joseph calling him on Father's Day one year, talking about let me borrow $500,000, and he's like, "What did you do now, Joseph? Like, why do you need $500,000?" And you can just hear his voice, like, you know,
Hmm.
I'm like, why? Like, what did you do now? Like, you didn't pay your, and I'm just like, that has to be a horrible feeling. You know,
Yeah.
like you have to carry everyone. You don't abuse me, you don't use me, and you're still
That's
using and
somebody's
abusing him
worse.
even in death.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
I don't like it.
That's so funny because my friend did say that. One of my friends said that when I was telling her like how I first went to go see it. She was like, y'all getting all of them people that money. They don't need that money. That man is dead. I was like, I'm like, yeah, you're right. I didn't look at it like that. I just wanted to go see it, but it's like, be for real. How many Michael Jackson movies do we need? Like, honestly and truly,
Right,
it is a
right,
good movie,
right.
but it's
I mean,
like enough is enough. My other friend, when I
yeah,
told
like
her,
you see, like there's truly more.
yeah, I was saying the other day I just went to go see it for Mother's Day because my son wanted to go see it again, and I was just like, ugh, please. And I was texting my other friend, and I was like, yeah, I'm on my way to the movie. She was like, what you gonna go see? I was like, the Michael movie again. She was like, give it a rest. Let that man rest in peace. And I was like, I know, I don't want to go again, but he wants to go. So, because my son is like a huge Michael Jackson fan. It's like you weren't even born when he was alive.
Okay,
But like, I feel like everybody has had a Michael
well,
Jackson phase at this point. It's just like inevitable.
everybody they're already saying that he's gonna have fans of generations that don't even exist yet, and I
Yeah,
believe
and
it.
that's what he
I
wanted.
believe
That's
it.
exactly what he wanted. All right, so let's get back into the episode because I already knew that was going. I already knew it was going to happen. Okay, so to dive a little bit deeper into your healing journey, so do you feel like there was like a
Mhm.
specific low point or aha moment that pulled you into what you're doing now, like your purpose?
Yeah. Whew. So 2012, I do not worry about how I look right now. I always put my disclaimer out now. So in 2012, I had looked like this, and I ended up. I remember October 15, 2012. I sat on the side of my bed and I just cried out to God because I was just like, I need help. Like I need help, and instantly it just started with the weight loss. So I was thinking that that was my healing. The healing was losing weight, but what I started to notice was that it wasn't that I have like I'm like, oh, I'm addicted to, because at the time it was Wendy's, right? I was going
Mm-hmm.
to Wendy's an unusual amount of times in the middle of the night, and I'm from New York City, so
Yeah, I
Brooklyn,
hear it
three
all
o'clock in
in
the
you.
morning, going to Wendy's. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I live in Oklahoma, but I'm still Brooklyn,
I hear it.
and I'm like, so it made me think one day, and I was like, God, am I? And this was like early in the journey, and I was like, am I like, do I? Is it that I can never have fast food again? Because you're trying to lose weight, and the first thing they tell you, stop eating this, and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't that I had to stop eating it. I have to control what's forcing me to eat it. And at that time in my life, the relationship I was in, although I'm very boisterous, although I'm very sarcastic, especially back then, I was very extreme. My sarcasm was really bad back then. But for whatever reason, with this particular person, he would say things, he would do things, and I was just shut down. And I was shut
Mm-hmm.
down to the point where it was just bothering me so much. I want to say something. I want to have rage. I want to tell you how I feel, but I was just shut down. Instead, I would get in that car and I would go to Wendy's and I would do this. And I saw this. This was happening often. Like I literally had went to my bank statements and I pulled up the bank statements for 2012 and I was seeing all the reoccurring charge. It was like I
Mm-hmm.
was going like almost every other night for a junior bacon cheeseburger, a frosty that I shouldn't have because I'm severely lactose intolerant, and French fries. And I was like, so God, what do I do? Do I just stop eating Wendy's? And then God was like, what's the other options? And I was like, I could break up with him. And it was like, and I broke up with him. And it was just like, okay, so we got to figure out the things that I'm eating the most, what's attached to it. And then the
Mm-hmm.
second thing about the anger I mentioned earlier, Chinese food was that way for me. And I remember I would meal prep every Sunday, so I knew I had food at home. But something had
Mm-hmm.
happened at work, and I remember just walking down the street, and I was like, I'm gonna just get me some. In my mind, I'm gonna just get some chicken wings and French fries, and I'm about to stop at the Chinese restaurant. And it's like I stopped in a moment and was just like, but why? You have food at home. You got healthy
Yeah.
food at home. So no. And it was just like every time you get angry, you don't need Chinese food. So this is when that's when I started to focus on my anger. Because it was
Mm-hmm.
like if you're always angry, you're always gonna try to eat the unhealthy thing. So that's really where the healing got started because I saw deeper than the food. I saw the connections to relationships, to emotions. And that's really what was the driving force and how things got started. And then it was like I started asking myself, so what don't you like about yourself now? Like, what else don't you like? And what else can you change? What else, like having that uncomfortable conversation with Tanisha and figuring out what are you ready to heal? And so when I tell people that, you got to get to a point where it's bothering you enough
Yeah.
that you now have to start saying, well, one, why is this happening? Or when does this happen? And create that, figure out that pattern, and then you can move forward. And so many people don't get to do that. So I'm
Yeah.
thankful that I started that and I looked at it from that standpoint. And that's really been my driving force since 2012. You know,
No.
and I started to realize that it wasn't just a weight loss journey, it was really a healing journey. And I've been on that healing journey since.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like that's something that needs to be said. And you kind of touched on it a little bit about how people will think that a problem that they're having is so surface level, but it's usually something that you have to dig deep into your internal to find out why you're doing that. Down to the anger, down to the overeating, down to the avoiding conversations. All of that is built up based upon whatever you're feeling internally, and you're not really letting it out, so it's coming out in different ways. I learned that the hard way. I remember one of my therapists, she said, I think I was telling her about how I was angry and I felt like I was just so flustered all the time. And she was like, well, why do you feel like that? And I was like, I just feel like I have so much to do. And she was like, well, why do you feel like everything is a rush? And I'm like, because I got to go to work and then I got to leave work and go to school and then I got to go back there. And she was like, well, what if you actually took the time out to relax your nervous system and be okay with the fact of whatever it is you have to do and focus on that and that only? And I was like, dang, okay. I was like, yeah, because I'm sitting here going down rabbit holes in my mind, thinking about all the things that I have to do,
Mm-hmm.
and it's stressing me out before I even get to it. So now, as the healed version of myself, when it comes to all of that chaos that I was used to, I take one thing at a time. People ask me, oh, what you doing this weekend? I don't know. I could tell you what I'm doing right now in the next hour. That's it. Because I would think about all the things,
Yeah.
and even the perfectionists would come in and, oh, well, I got to do this on this day. And nope. People ask me, well, what are you doing for the rest of the day? All right, I got to do X, Y, and Z, and I can get that out the way, and then I'll be done. So it's like I definitely had to learn that a lot of the times we show up externally and with other people and environments a certain way, but it may be because of something that we're dealing with or that we haven't dealt with internally. So I think that's really good because I think that happens with a lot of people. I've never really had, well, I can't say that because I'm like, I have had like overeating situations or eating, like stress eating, but I think that happens a lot with a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
either eat bad or just overeat in general is because of something deeper inside them that they're either running from or trying to really avoid and push away. So that's really good.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
that was the good part. And I love how you mentioned the nervous system.
mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, my nervous system really went into healing mode when I moved to Oklahoma.
Mm.
2015, I knew I needed to get out of New York. So awareness clicked 2015. I didn't move into 2023. So
Mm.
I was operating with a nervous system that was not like, it was fighting me because it was like, we got to get out of here. We don't want to be here anymore. We don't belong. I used to literally tell people, I don't belong here. And
Yeah.
they're thinking I'm like suicidal. I'm like, no, 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 no.
Right
I don't
here.
belong in New York. And
Yeah.
they're like, you was born and raised here. And I was like, I get that. But my spirit don't like it here. Like, we fight.
Mhm.
And I was like, that's when I started traveling. That's when I fully got tired of sitting in traffic. I quit my in-person job. I got a remote job. And I just started traveling to different cities because I was just, I got to get out of New York, and I need to get out of New York for long enough. The only problem with that is that when you go away for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and then you come back to a place you don't want to be in, you actually feel worse. Like, I remember when I came back from Myrtle Beach, I went there for a month, and as I'm driving over the George Washington Bridge, I'm crying, like tears are boiling. And that was in 2022. And after that, that's when my therapist said to me, she was like, it's time to make a decision. Do you want to, what are you going to do? You're trying to stay for your family. You're trying to stay because that's your comfort zone. She was like, but your body is fighting you. You know, I have psoriasis. Like, if I don't know, you see my hand, I have psoriasis. That's because it's the autoimmune. My body is fighting me. And it
Mm-hmm.
got really bad 2015. 2015 to now, the psoriasis has gotten ridiculously insane. So I know that. And then when I say to you, when the opportunity to come to move to Tulsa, the first time that I came to visit, my spirit was just like, oh yeah, girl, yeah, yeah.
So
And
good.
when I moved here, I feel good. You know, when I go on vacations, I get excited to go home. Like I'll be on
Mm.
a plane, like, and everyone is like, and I'm like, because my nervous system is relaxed here.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have to go home. I have to go back home next month for my niece's graduation. I'm trying, and like you just said, you try to stay in the moment, but my mind is already like, girl, we gotta go to New York. We gotta be with the people. Oh my! And I'm trying to fight that because I know you already about to stress yourself out for June, and this May 13th. Stay here, Tanisha. But so I love that you said that because so many of us we don't acknowledge that our nervous
Mm-hmm.
system needs regulation, it needs to heal, it needs to relax. And when I tell people, I'm like, nah, this was the best decision I made for my nervous system.
Yeah.
So you sometimes it's gonna mean that you're gonna have to move, y'all. Some of y'all gonna have to move from wherever you are out your comfort
Yeah.
zone.
I
And that's a part
definitely
of the
had
healing. You gotta get out your
I
comfort zone.
definitely had that experience from the job that I worked when I was full time at my job. I had the same everything you just described. I felt the same way, and I only was there for like 3 years. And I've never been, just me personally, I've never been a stay at a job for a very long time because I knew what I always wanted to do. I knew what I needed to always do, but obviously I had to show up as an adult. I had to do what I had to do to make ends meet. Cool, but the last year, so I left that job 2025 last summer actually, so it's almost been a year, but leading up to it, so this time last year I'm like going through it, stressed out, face breaking out, like, and I actually have scalp psoriasis, so it's in my scalp and it spreads down to my forehead. So it's like all these different things, like I'm not taking care of myself. You could just feel the energy of me not being my happiest. And the money was great, made money all the time
Mhm.
until I looked up and realized I'm at work 7 days a week. Like, what is going on? Like, I don't have anything for myself. And even when I did, it was drinking, smoking, doing all the things to numb the fact that, okay, this is my weekend, this is my reality. And then, oh, it's Monday, back to the hustle. No. So it was like, I definitely could feel that
Mhm.
it was like a pull on me. And I had worked there, like I said, for 3 years. And I started at the very bottom and grew in the company. And then it got to the point where like, I don't even want to be in management no more. I don't want to be higher up. Like, take me down to the pits, to the bottom with the bare minimum people, because I don't want to keep doing this. And I did step down at first, and I was like, okay, I really still don't want to be in this environment. Like, y'all still getting on my nerves. So I definitely can attest to that. Like, it's not worth it. Sometimes when you feel like you know you don't belong in a space, or you know that you need to move into something better, then do it. It may be scary, like we talked about with change. It's going to be scary. It's going to be uncomfortable, but you have to learn how to pivot. And I tell people you need to learn how to pivot quick, because you may end up like how Tanisha was, and she was there. What you say, from 2013 to when? You ain't leave till 2023. That's a long
2015.
time. Yeah, that's a
Long
long
time.
time. Yeah, and some people be like that for 20, 30 years in relationships, in situationships, in careers that you literally are miserable in. And it's like you have to learn when to pivot, when to move, because
Yeah.
you could literally be costing your life. Like, and I don't know how you did New York. I know you from there. I just visited New York, in April, and I was there for a day. I was ready to go. I was like, because I got there, I think around, we went for a
Wow.
concert. I think I got there around like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We did a little bit walking around. I was like, I'm ready to go. I can't. And I used to love New York, but all that chaos, all that. And I'm from the city too. Like, I'm from Philly. So it's like, I know what it's like, but now I live
Right.
on the outside of Philly. So it's like, I don't even have to deal with the city life now. So when I was out there for a couple hours, I was like,
Girl.
I am ready to go. It is too much happening.
It's too much. It is too much, and so many people don't understand that. Like when I told people I was gonna move, everyone was just didn't understand. And you know,
Mm.
I'm also like you. I don't stay at jobs long. Like the contract that I'm on a contract still. This is probably the longest, and
Yeah,
I it's because I love what I do, and they don't bother me. Leave me alone.
yeah.
Like you know, I work with the faculty because I work with I work in higher education. So I love the work, but I always said, and I've been saying it the last couple of weeks actually. I was like, I want to go back to working part time, and I want to make my money passively, and I want to speak. That's it. I don't
Yeah.
want to work nowhere full time. I don't want to have to, even if I don't want to have to put in my timesheet or 35 hours. Like 20 hours is good.
Yeah.
And people are like, how do you want to take care of yourself? I told you I'm gonna take care of myself. I told you it's still gonna be a plan. It's still gonna be money coming in. But
Right.
and I remember like in 2018, I had a season like that. I had left this crazy. I took this crazy job and I pivot quick. When I saw how bad it was on the legal ends, I said, let me get out of here. And I quickly pivoted from there. And I took this. I remember I fast and I fast because I needed to get out, and I had 7 job interviews lined up for the following week. And by Wednesday, I probably only went to 4, the 5 interviews, and I received 3 offers. 2 were part time, 1 was full time, and there was just this one of the part time ones. It just stuck out to me. It was a teaching position, working with women that that have been pretty much misplaced in the job workforce. Mainly, a lot of them worked at companies that might have closed down, sent operations overseas. So they found themselves now 15, 20 years working with a company as an administrator or something, and now you don't know how the new market works because you have been stuck to this company for 15, 20 years. And I was just like, you know what? I think I could do this. But then the full time job offered me a full time company. So I remember I got baptized on Cinco de Mayo. It was actually just the week before,
Mhm.
but in 2018. And everyone was like, "Oh, so you're gonna take the full time job?" And I was like, "No, I'm gonna take the part time job." And they're like, "It's part
What's
time."
wrong?
I was like, It paid me $45 an hour. My contract was 25 hours. I got 2 weeks vacation. I got summer Fridays, and to this day, I never got a paycheck less than 25 hours. Like all my paychecks was always 25, 30 hours. Like I never had full-time hours, but I always had more than what we initially agreed upon. And they
Right.
were okay with that. So that was like, I can pay my bills with a part-time check, and I still have good work-life balance because I can still say, hey, I have a vacation day I want to use and I want to just take off. I can do that. That's the life I want to. I don't want to go back to that job. I just want to go back to that type of season where I'm
Hmm.
making more than enough to cover all my bills, but I'm working part of the time. And so many
Yeah.
people, I'm like, it's okay to want that. It's okay to want that. Like we don't. I don't want the hustle and bustle. I don't want to do. I wrote on Threads. I think after we had connected, and I was like, you know what, God? I said, I don't even want my husband working like that. Like, I want us to tap into this passive income so quickly, so much like hitting 5, 6 figures, and him not having to leave and be out work for 50, 60 hours. Like
Yeah.
that's just the mindset because I'm like, it's the energy that comes with that. And it's like I want us to have a relaxed life and not the stressful life. And so many
Mm.
people, they don't understand that, and I get that. But that's why I know I need to align myself with people that have that similar mindset because
Yeah.
I want to be able to, like, I work remote, so I would love to call, hey girl, yo, let's go to Cancun for a couple
Okay.
of days. We from the resort. Like,
Hmm.
I want more of that. Because we need that.
I can
Just
agree
change
with
our
that.
environment. We don't have to stay. We don't want to stay in the cold. Like that's what I did. Like
Look, call
last
me.
year, I went to. Look, last year I started the new year last year in Colombia. I was planned to stay there
Mm.
for 4 weeks, ended up staying for 6 weeks. And I did that. So I didn't want to be in Oklahoma for winter. And people were like, wait, who does that? Me? Because that's why I chose this lifestyle.
Yeah,
Right?
I
That was
love
very
Colombia.
intentional. I want a remote lifestyle where I can work. Me too. I gotta get back. I
Yeah, I
gotta
just
get
went
back, but I
for the
love it
first
over
time
there.
in
But that's
January.
why I told you. Which city did you go to?
Cartagena.
Yeah, I went there. I stayed mainly in Medellin. Medellin is just like it's like a tropical forest, but in a city. No
Yeah.
water. That's the only disadvantage to Medellin. There's no water, but I love the nature so much because actually someone asked me that yesterday. They was like, if you can live anywhere, like, and they thought I would say somewhere like Miami or something because that's how I used to think. Like, oh, I want to live near water. I just got to be in. I got to be in nature. That's it. So,
Yeah.
but Cartagena was nice too.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. I went for what, either 5 days or 6 days, and I actually met people at the airport on my way back home, and they were like, "You got to come back and go to Medellin," and I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Okay, I will be back."
You do.
Yeah.
You do. Call me. I'll meet you out there.
But no, to your point, when it comes to like even being aligned and being around people who are in alignment with what it is that you want, because I'm the same way. Like when it comes to my part-time job, people be like, "Oh, you don't got work today," and it's like, "No, I'm working for myself today," and they're like, "Oh, well, when the next time you go to work?" I don't know. I don't know. And it's like I had to escape because I think we get pushed the narrative so much that you're supposed to work a full time job. And obviously, that's honestly what they set the world to be up to be like, so that we could work all
Yeah.
the time and only have 2 days. But I'm not subscribing to that. I literally be so stressed out because when the week starts and like a day like today, I fell back to sleep and I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. I have homework. My summer semester just started this week. So I'm like, I have all this homework to do. And I'm like, why are you tripping? You have a whole nother 5 days, girl. Like, relax because my week is not like a typical person's week. I don't have to go to work and my part-time job is open
Right.
7 days a week. So even if they call me and I have to work on a Saturday, that's cool. Because I got all my other
Okay.
days throughout the week. So it's like I'm a firm believer and I don't have to bend over backwards and break my back to make some money. Like it's too many ways out here to make money. It's too many ways to be flexible with your own time. But I do agree that a lot of people who are like kind of looking at you crazy for choosing a part-time job over the full-time job, they don't understand it, and that's why you have to constantly be aligned with people who actually understand what you're on. Because child, I know when I told my mom I was going part-time and I was moving back home and I'm not getting a full-time job, she was looking at me like, what? I'm like, it's no reason. Like, I just need to build out my dream. This is the time I have the opportunity to save money. I have the opportunity, and as much as I want to go get a full-time job, I'm cool because I can build on my dream. I can do all the things that I've wanted to
Yeah.
do at a certain point in life. So it's like, why not take the time out to do it now? What, I'm gonna wait for another 10 years for what?
Right.
For what? It's like, yeah, no. I
Yeah.
know she was
That's
like,
the
she was
next.
hot.
Yeah, and I mean, our parents don't understand. You know, my mom, she was like, but it's a full time job. And I'm just like, and then when I did the math for her, because again, sometimes people, you know, when Tabitha Brown, she has, remember she said a couple, I think it was last year, and she told the entrepreneurs who their business might, like, things might be slow. She was like,
Mm,
there's nothing wrong with going to get a job, right? They heard just go get a job. And I
yep.
remember I did a video and I was like, she ain't never say go get a full time job. She just said go get a job. And I think when
Mm-hmm.
people heard that, they heard corporate America, full time job, go work, the job that's gonna have you going for 60 hours a week. I said she ain't never I said she just said go get a job. Y'all created I said y'all didn't even explore all the options. Like you said, there's multiple ways to make money. You can do gig
Mm-hmm.
work, that's the way to make money. I said we're gonna go get you a part-time job. And then there's some part-time jobs, like I was getting paid $45 an hour in my
Mm-hmm.
part-time job. I said, y'all here part-time and y'all think everything is $15 an hour. No, part-time can
Right.
still mean $100 an hour. So I want to go for that, not give me $100 an hour for 20 hours a week. I'm bank. Like, I'm good. You don't have to worry about nothing. So it's just the mindset, and that's one thing I love talking about and I love teaching people about. You heard one thing, you got offended, but you didn't explore all options. I'm gonna explore all options on it. Like, let's look at every possible way. Do you want to work a full-time job? Yes or no? No? Cool. So what kind of part-time job are you cool with? I will walk my clients through that. And I want them to be honest with themselves. It's okay to say, I don't want to work a full-time job, because there's some people, they love it. Let them love that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We all don't have to love that. So you find what works for you. You want to, do part-time and work on a business, do part-time and work on a side gig, do that. There's so many different ways, but they just got offended because they just heard, go get a job. And I'm like,
yeah,
this is how the society, and then you had said that the world wants us to work. It's not the world, it's the United States. Because the more that I travel out the country, these people make less. They are the happiest people. Like in Colombia, you probably met some of those people. Like, they're like, what? I don't work 40 hours no week. Like, I may do 30 hours. And when they get up from work, they got this is not a bed, but they got their bed, they sitting outside, and they dancing, and they happy. And you see us getting up from work at 5 o'clock, miserable, going to the bar, having all these shots, fussing and cussing about the work, about the job. And them people are outside, and they dancing, and just enjoying life. It's definitely the United States.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I said the world, the United States. Unfortunately, that's my world right now. The capitalism is crazy. Yes, I can agree. It's the United States. I literally feel like we all just need to agree to get up and move.
We gonna
get out. All right. So when
I was like, what if we all just started?
No, go ahead.
No, so I was going to say, I was like, what would happen? I was going to say, what would happen if we all decide just to get up and all leave? Like, let's just leave right now.
Listen, I feel like we need to. So I want to touch on unlearning. So how do you feel like you will define unlearning in your life?
How would I define unlearning? I define unlearning as one, reflecting what you need to unlearn. You gotta have a revelation moment, and then you gotta start exploring what else the options are. Because I think when you hear one narrative for so long, you believe that's the only option. And I think one thing I encourage people is find the people that are living the life that you want to live, because I feel like that's the benefit and the beautiful part that's the one part I like about social media, is because you can find the people that are living that life. So if there's any time that we start, just like the part-time life, I had to see someone working part-time, being able to sustain and take care of themselves and not have that stress. So although Tanisha knew work hard, and if you don't have enough money, go get a second job, and I knew that narrative, it was like, once I knew, like, no, but I don't want this, but I didn't know how to go for that. So now I had to start, and I don't mean you have to go find them and physically sit with them, but you're gonna come across that channel or that person on TikTok who is doing it, and they're true to it. They're not just talking about it. They're actually like, no, wait, get ready with me to work my part-time job, doing something that I love, but it's only part-time. You find those people and hold on to it, because that's going to be the first thing, because 9 times out of 10, you're still around the people that have instilled that mindset into you. So you can't have that conversation with them, because you're going to go out of order. So they're going to do everything to keep you in order. So you got to now start saying, okay, let me start finding, and this little phone right here can open up that door for you to start realizing there are people out there, right? I call them the champions. There's a book, Bruce Wilkinson, The Dream Giver. And in that book, it's about a person. This is a very simple book, but it's about a person who had a dream and is trying to chase after this dream. And everyone around them is telling them, that's not possible. And he had to get past that and start taking that path by himself, afraid and alone. And when he got to a certain point, he met the champion. The champion was the one that already went through that. And the champion came back, and the champion is now telling, oh yeah, that's so, I know, yeah, your mom said so and so to you, right? Yeah, that's expected. Your family don't believe in you. Yeah, that's expected. And then I'm gonna tell you what's about to come too. This is what's gonna potentially happen when you get there. We need that. And if you can't find that person in the physical in your life, you need to find someone on social media that's living it. I'd rather you get what they call it, doom scrolling. I'd rather you get doom scrolling on their channel, because you need that motivation to take that action. Because you already got the aha moment. I promise you, one of the biggest problems that I tell us is that when we ask God for an answer and He gives it to us, once you have that revelation, it's going to burn in you until you start taking action. You're going to get irritated at your job. You're going to get irritated with your friends. You're going to get irritated talking to anyone because they're talking about the past. And you're like, nah, I'm looking at the future. And they're like, man, that's not possible. You got to get out of that until you start taking those steps. So that's how I had to unlearn, was finding people that was doing what I was desiring, attaching to them, paying for coaches, mentors, mastermind sessions. And the more that you soak up and you start believing, like, okay, so this really is possible. I don't have to keep doing it this way. Then when you start taking those little small steps, and it's just, it's leaving the stressful job for a less stressful job. It might not be part-time, but you're getting away from I gotta work hard, the grind, I gotta, you gotta do overtime. I don't want no job, I gotta do overtime. And people don't understand that. So that's how I define unlearning, is get the aha moment, try to start separating from the people that already instilled that in you. Find your people, find the people that's already living it, and don't limit yourself to this just in the physical. Use that's where social media, TikTok and YouTube, I think, are the best places where you can kind of get lost in those stories and those narratives to get that inspiration to start taking that journey until you meet your champion. Because your champion is going to come. Your champion is going to come in the physical, because you're going to be in pursuit. And I remember I met my champion in 2014. So I was already in pursuit of this, and then she popped up, and it was just like, and this is before I read this book. So when I read the book, I identified, she was my champion. So that's something I always tell people. That's like one of the best books to help you to unlearn, because it literally pushes out and it gives you the blueprint of everything that's going to happen, the good and the bad.
Yeah, when you said book, I grabbed my pen like, listen, I would love to read a book any day. Sign me up. I will be adding that to my list. But no, I want to touch on what you said about the unlearning phase, because I feel like I always had it in me to unlearn. Once I start to realize that I don't have to continue with this narrative, I don't have to continue with the story, like that old part of me doesn't have to be the new me. That was never a problem. It was always thinking that letting other people go that were pretty much married to that old version of me. That was something that was really like an aha moment for me, because I thought that once I unlearned and I shared, everybody was going to be like, okay, bet, this is what we on. But it's like, no, you literally have to remove yourself from out of situations and environments, because those people don't have the vision, or they haven't had their aha moment where they need to unlearn that thought process. So it's like, that was one thing that I did not know. And it actually just hit me within the last 6 months. And I was like, oh my, I got to cut you off. Oh my goodness, I'm so sad. But it's like, and it's not no beef or animosity. It's just the fact that you need to be surrounded by the people who understand. You need to be surrounded by those people. And that is literally something that was like, yeah, I unlearned it, but that don't mean the people that I've been around for the last 15 years understand what I just unlearned, or even are in agreement to what I'm trying to really unlearn, in a sense. So yeah, the environment plays a huge part. I do agree that social media will help you. If you have the right algorithm, they will help you.
Yeah, you gotta think, in social media world, you gotta go looking for it. Like, you gotta, be like, that's why I like Threads. You could say, their algorithm, I want to see this. I wish we could do that for YouTube and for TikTok. But yeah, like, you have, and that is one of the hardest parts. And that's why I said sometimes you before you can even because the mental transition of unlearning happens before sometimes the physical, and that's why it's like it's hard because you have a lot of people they still live with the people that feel that way, and it's like when people are the closest to you, oh, that's like the worst feeling because it's like they mean well, but it's just like, yeah, you're trying to keep me here with you, and I don't want to stay here with you. And I mean, that's why I physically had to leave. Like, I had to physically leave. And I love my family. I miss them. But I'm like, y'all, you want to stay there. And you want to stay in the struggle. And I don't support that. So I had to remove myself physically. But I removed myself I removed myself mentally and spiritually a long time ago. Like I've been
Yeah.
operating with my family in a whole different, like in the same space, and they're like, you don't get, you don't have the same feelings and thoughts. No, because I already
Yeah.
knew this. I said none of this makes sense, and I already know I don't have to. I'm not staying here for long. I just didn't know where. I just didn't want to make the wrong move and go into the wrong place. That's the. Because
Mm.
I'm good for that too. I'm good to being real quick and moving fast. And I'm like, I didn't want to end up like in Atlanta. No shade to people from Atlanta or from Houston or something. I didn't want to go to those places that everyone from New York went. So I had
Mm-hmm.
to I kept praying, you present an opportunity for me. And then that's when Tulsa was presented. So, but I mentally was already like not there with them. I was just like, we just
Yeah.
here together physically. That's it.
Listen, I get that because I feel like we are speaking to each other. I am mentally checked out from family. Like, I mentally, spiritually, emotionally, I want to get away so bad physically, but I'm just, like you said, not trying to act on impulse, not trying to just hurry up and make a decision. I literally, in my prayer every single day, let me know when it's time for me to roll because I'm out because I'm not gonna do it impulsively based upon how I feel and acting off of emotion. But yeah, I'm the same way. Mentally, completely checked out from family. Completely, we're not on the same wavelength. Like maybe me and my sister were kind of like somewhat getting similar and aligned with what we want, and just looking at our parents and seeing the generations before us, how they move and how they act and how they respond. Very much so, but mom, nah, I love you, but nah, it's not the same wavelength. It's not the same mindset, and it's crazy because you think, like you said, the people
Yep.
that you love the most and that's the closest to you, you would think that they would be the ones to support you and to be there for you, but it's not always the case. It would be nice, but no shade to my mama, love her down,
Oh
but
no, no, it's not.
some things I gotta just do on my own because I see the vision. I understand. So it's like, yeah, I definitely get that and I understand it. I do have a question for you though. So, why do you think
Okay.
that many of us, or I think we are fine, but just for the audience sake, why do you think that many of us are attached to old stories that actually hurt us?
Repeat that. You started breaking up. You said why do many of
No,
us?
you're fine. Why do you think so many of us are attached to old stories that hurt us?
The people that are special to us hurt us the most? You said.
No, how many of us are attached to old
Sorry, it's
stories that hurt us? Is it still breaking up? Let me know when you can hear me.
yeah, it's breaking up bad too. And I'm like, I know it's a
Gosh,
good question. Come on, internet, stop acting up.
right. It is something spinning on my thing. Can you hear me now?
It's still in and out, in and out.
Oh, I want to hate. Please, we didn't even get into the good stuff.
I know. I'm like, come on, internet. Don't do this to us.
And it's so crazy because I can hear you fine. Hold on. Let me see something real quick. Okay, can you hear me? Did I get stuck now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, and you actually look
Okay.
clear too.
Okay, I turned my hotspot on because I don't know what's going on. I'm in my office. I don't know what's happening with the Wi-Fi. It's clearly it told me to go home. All right, so you can hear me clearly. The question was, why do you think so many of us are attached to old stories that hurt us?
Because that's all we already know. It's so familiar. Like, it's just a similar thing. Like, any of us, why do we stay in the unhealthy relationships, jobs? You know it hurts us. You know we hate it. We know that we're not happy, but we know that at least we are familiar with it. And I think that's sometimes we get so stuck to that. I always think about relationships when you hear, like, you watch like some of the judge shows and divorce court, and he's cheating on you left and right, having babies and beating on you, and the women, they'll say, like, because I don't know anything else and I don't want to start over. That's starting over for a new life. Like, when you start healing, you are literally walking into a new life, a life that you've never known before. So that's scary. Like, that's intimidating because you have already figured out, how to operate in the dysfunction. You know how to operate when you're not happy, when you're not being satisfied. You know how to self-soothe. Like, you figure out, and so now you're healing, and now you're like, oh my God, and it's scary because now you're meeting people, and now they're meeting the new healed version of you, and now you're going out there with this new perspective, and now you're supposed to figure out, how do I engage? Like, healing is so hard because no one tells us how to. Okay, so once you've healed here, this is how you're supposed to live. Like, I was telling my
Hmm.
therapist this a couple of years ago. I was like, I don't know how to be in a relationship. I know what not to do in the old ones. I don't want to do those things anymore. I don't want to be that person. But now, how do I be in a healthy relationship going forward? Because all I know is dysfunction. All I know is hurt. All I know is neglect. That's all that I know. And she's like, okay, I can see. I say, yeah, y'all keep saying heal, heal, heal. But then that's how so many people just go, they revert back to their old ways. And I
Yeah.
remember telling someone that a guy, we started with cool friends, but when I first met him, he said he didn't like me in a romantic way because I was too nice. Like, you're just too nice. And I was just like, I said, so you want the drama? Like, you want the nagging? You want the? I said, I'm not reverting back to that just to give, so that I can have a man in my life. Like, that doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. And it was in that moment where I could choose. Yeah, you can get a boyfriend if you go back to being the old Tanisha, or you can stay in the hill Tanisha and realize that's not what I want. And I'm going to stay here until I find something that's what I definitely want in the future. And that's what so many people, they don't know how to function. So it's just like, let me just stay in my comfort zone and go back to what I know, even if it's
Yeah.
hurting me, even if it's, pushing me into unhealthy habits again. I mean, I know that. So I think that's the hardest part. It's just so comfortable. And some of us people are starting their healing journeys later and later, 40s and 50s and
Hmm.
60s. So imagine you doing something for 50, 60 years. And now here you get this revelation of change.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? I did it better for 60 years, even though it was worse. But in your mind, I just did it better for 60 years. Let me just go back to that. No,
Yeah.
keep moving forward. Go towards that unhealthy. Go towards the healthier, but the uncomfortable.
Yeah, I can agree. And my psychology brain went off, and that term alone is learned helplessness. Like, people literally would rather conform to what they know rather than to put themselves in a situation where it's changed behavior, where it's changed environment. So I definitely agree. And for me, I know even when you said something about actually the guy and he didn't want to date you because you were so nice, I literally need people to understand that I don't care how y'all glorify relationships on the internet. I'm single because I'm healed. And I love the fact that I'm healed. So I am happy being single. People swear that the end all be all
Oh,
is being in a relationship, but a lot of y'all be in a relationship and be miserable. I love that you said that
yes.
because people think that, oh, how can you give advice about relationships? Because I'm not in one and my judgment is not clouded. I'm not, excuse my mouth, but I'm not digmatized. I'm not wooed by a man. And
Right.
I don't think people put the connection together that when you've been in relationships and you know what you don't want to do with, it's going to be harder, especially when there's more majority. I'm not saying all, because I know the internet like to tussle. I'm not saying all men are the same, but majority of men are the same. So you think that all I'm going to do is
Yeah.
go get me another man that's the same man but just another body? No, I would rather be single and healed, baby.
Yeah.
I would rather be in my own little comfort of being me, the healed version. Not, and I agree. My one
Right.
friend, she just asked me that not too long ago. She was like, if you and your ex were able to, have a conversation or reconnect, would you really like do that? And I was like, honestly and truly, we wouldn't have nothing to talk about. Because if he ain't changed, I know I'm not even the same person. And that was a long relationship from like, I think I was maybe
Right.
about like 21 up until like 25, 26. So it's like, I'm about to be 30 this year. It ain't much we could talk about unless
Right.
he on the same type stuff I'm on, which me knowing him, I highly doubt it. There's
And
nothing
that's
for us to conversate about.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like so many people, it's like I do believe people can change because I change, So I know that fact for a fact. But there's just some people that you just like you ain't gonna do no work. I saw an interview. So I have an ex who's a musician, and he did an interview and it came across my YouTube and I watched it. And in the interview, the host was like, "So do you think did you go to therapy?" He was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, I went to therapy." And I was like, because he had like just reached out to me, and I was just like, maybe, just maybe. And then he said, "Yeah, I did 2 sessions. I'm good." And I was like, "Never mind, never mind." I was like, "See, you gotta start asking questions like, so when you say you went to therapy, now when I hear guys say to me, they be like, yeah, I've been to therapy. How many sessions you been to?" Because this ninja talk about he had 2, and he thinking they done solved his whole life's problems. And at the
Yeah.
time, he was in his 50s. So like, what do you mean, sir?
I'm
So
right.
so I hear you. I know that it is, and I think about it. I often want to like talk about that online because I'm like, I do feel the same way. I feel like there are more unhealed people than there are healed people.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's harder for us who are on this journey, who are taking it serious, to connect with people because a lot of people are just like, yeah, I don't have to do this work. Like my homeboy, everyone around him goes to therapy. He's the only person who doesn't. And I was like, I think you need to evaluate that. If everybody in your circle is going to
Yeah.
therapy and you're the only one that's not, maybe, just maybe. And he's like, you trying to say I need therapy? Yes. We all need to heal from something.
Yeah.
Something. No one of
I
us is
agree.
perfect. So yeah, go get that therapy, boo.
It's such a shame because I can never turn my creative brain off because you said something about how you want to bring these conversations to the internet. And I'm in the space of obviously building new relationships, collaborating with people. So I'm going to DM you because I think I got something. I think we about to do something. We're going to let
DM
y'all
me.
know
Let
when
me
we
know. Let me know.
finalize everything. But I think I just figured something out. Because I love this conversation. And I just looked at the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're over our hour. But if you have enough time, we can
Yeah.
finish it up and I could wrap it up. Because I'm like, oh my God, I knew this was going to be a FaceTime call. Something about your energy when I read everything I was like, this is going to be a FaceTime. Very much. All right, so I
Yeah, we
do
can
want to
wrap this
ask
up.
you, just like we can have a mini discussion about emotional attachments to identity. So, do you feel like you can kind of touch on that a little bit? Do you feel like, obviously, we do have emotional attachments to our identity, but can you speak on it from a standpoint of with relationships and even the relationship with yourself?
So with emotional identities, I feel like for me, I do have attachments to it because growing up, I was like, I grew up, I grew up in a unique space. My mom was a single mom. She worked 2 jobs full time, and then it was my sister and I. So I grew up feeling because we always focused on emotional relationships with like our parents, and I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was not Like I'm not affectionate. You know, I carry that. Like, I'm not affectionate. That's not me because I didn't have that with my mom. Like I look at my sister and my niece. Like my niece will crawl. My niece is 18 and still will crawl in her mother's lap and watch TV with her. You know, I can't do that with my mom. So I
Mm,
carried that and I carried that narrative for so long. Like, yeah, I'm not emotional, I'm not affectionate. And it wasn't until 2020 when I worked with a relationship coach and she kind of helped me through and understanding like, no, you are affectionate. You're just still attaching that to only the relationship with your mother. And then you've been carrying those types of unhealthy habits in the other relationships because you was attracting people who were also not affectionate. So it just made
mhm.
it 10 times easier. And then you pushed away the ones who were super affectionate because it was like, oh no, this is too much. And so when I got to a space and I just realized, she was like, now you got to kind of just choose which one do you want? Do you want to still do the way that you was raised, you know, or do you want to focus on the one relationship that I did have that was emotional, which was with my sister. Like my sister, she babied me, you know, even and the craziest thing, you want to know what the funny thing about what I realized in the last 10 years about my sister's not affectionate. My
Mm,
sister knows how to turn it on for the people that she cares about.
yeah.
So me and my niece, she'll turn it on for her. But in natural, my sister's not, she's not affectionate. She still has that same like my mom. But because she had me, she was able to turn it on. And I just never realized that I did have that one relationship. So now, fast forward, the hill Tanisha is like all these emotions and all these feelings, and I'm feeling everything deeply, and I want hugs, and I want to just cuddle. And now it's like now just I know that I got to find someone that has that same energy, you know, and
Yeah.
not keep picking the people that are not emotional in any capacity. They have
Yeah.
full detachment styles, and I'm just like, I need somebody that has a secure attachment.
Yeah.
So it's I think that was one of that was one of the hardest things that I had to just realize and you know identify and then move forward from there of how do I want to attract people that have and I mean I have not been super successful. I will say that that's still one of the hardest things to like find.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you explained me to a T. Like growing up, I felt like I was very affectionate. You would see it as a child, but at some point, I want to say like maybe middle schoolish, that's when I start to detach from my emotions. So my identity was I'm emotionally unavailable. Like, and there's probably people who can attest to this today that be like, yeah, she don't get into all that lovey-dovey stuff, but I had my one friend point out about my previous relationship. She was like, I never seen you like this. Like when you around him, y'all just all touchy feely and you all in love. And I was like, yeah, I mean, he the only one that really got me like that. And then I look at me outside of the relationship now, it's like a man couldn't touch me with a 10-foot pole. Like I'm not cuddling, I'm not doing none of that. But I'm to the point now where that's the part that I'm trying to unlearn because at some point I was okay with being that, and it could just be me trying to detach from my emotions because the person that I'm attracting is emotionally unavailable. But sometimes you gotta kind of look at yourself and say, well, why am I attracting an emotionally unavailable guy? Like, what's wrong with me? And I know that there's still
Yeah.
parts of me that need to heal that emotionally avoidant version of me because I know that it's possible for me to show emotion, to want to cuddle, to want to, be up
Right.
under somebody. Because now it's like, man, get off of me. Please get away. And I feel like that will be something that will be hard for me because I know it's going to take me a while to meet somebody that can mirror that same type of energy. But also, I'm opened enough to be like, okay, I want to be open and cuddle, and things are just reciprocal. So I know it's going to be.
Mhm. No, and it is, you know, but I was in a situation, well, I won't say a situation, I was in a brief relationship recently, and that person, like, that was where I was like so okay with being soft, that cuddle, I want the hugs. And I mean, I feel like for me, it could be, I feel like I'm just like going through an affection drought since I moved out here because I don't have, you know, at least back in New York, I have like that one homeboy, nothing sexual between us, but we can just cuddle on the couch, watch TV, have a great
Yeah.
conversation, eat some good food, and then I just go home. Like I just got my affection for like
Right.
2 hours and I'm good. So I
Yeah.
can do that when I was in New York. In Tulsa, I don't have those people. So I'm sitting here like, I just need a hug. Like, I need a hug. I want a hug. And I wish I had somebody to hug. And then my friends, they'll try and they're like, I can give you a hug. And I'm like, I don't want your hug. I'm like, I want a man hug. I want to feel
Okay.
that good. But they're like, and I'm like, I know. And then I feel bad because then it's like, so you start like, no, I think so. That's when like one time God was like, apologize. Like you just heard they trying to give you a hug, and I was just like, dang, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, girl. Like I didn't, but I just want a man to hug me, not you. Like, but
Yeah.
so I think that's a good thing that you're seeing that, and yeah, like I'm like, God, just send me somebody that I can have that, and they're still emotionally available. Because I feel like the last person I was with, he did it because I liked it. I
Mm-hmm.
want someone that's what they need too. Some people don't feel like they
Yeah.
need. My sister, she feels like she's like, I don't need to be cuddled up and with a man. I don't need that. Like, just we could just be in each other's presence. We don't have to like
Yeah.
touch each other. And I was like, nah. Like, I want you to hold me. Like, I want to lay on your chest while I'm watching TV. And she was like, I don't need that. And I'm like, okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah. And that's so funny because I had a guy tell me recently, like, you so rough. You want to be so big, bad, and tough. And I looked at him and I was like, if only you knew. But and then I went to go like to the further extent. I even told him I was like, well, I'm gonna be honest. Like the only way that I know that I could submit is simply by being around energy that is submittable. Like I can't be submissive
Mm,
around somebody where you only want to do nasty things to me. Because guess what? That's all I'm going to give off. I'm not going to give you the energy of me being soft and me being nice because I know that that's not what you want to exchange. So it's like if you talk to me and you get hard body, Sierra, best believe it's not happening for you because my energy can
right,
feel
right.
that. And when I'm around a guy that I could be soft with and I can lay on your chest and I want to touch you, that says something. So it's like I'm the same way. I definitely can agree to that because you definitely gonna get rough rider Sierra every time
And then
when you're not allowing me to be submissive.
I be trying to leave Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. I'm trying to leave there. I'm like, that's your
Yeah.
on Oklahoma, Tanisha, not Bed-Stuy. Like what you said. Like I don't want to do that anymore. I'm trying to be
And it's
gentle.
so funny because they say New York girls is rough. They say Philly girls is rough, and I know I'm a little rough, but they say New York. I don't know. Y'all might got us beat because y'all is different.
I look. I tell people I used to beat up boys. I like I said. That's why the relationship that I told you about earlier when I was going to eat Wendy's. Even like one of my best friends, she was like, "Girl, the way you be ready to fight a dude," she was like, "You let him say whatever." Like I still can't tell you to this day, and
Yeah.
it wasn't like I would probably be here for 2 hours trying to understand, but it's just like that was one of those relationships where I should have been bedside do or die. Like, what are you talking to like that, son? But now I try not to, and that's how I know when things are about to go south in a relationship. Because when I just start like speaking to you like, yo, son, yo, bro, B, when I start speaking to you like that, when the softness is gone, and it's just like,
Yeah.
what like, yo, what's good, son? What's good? And then, what happened to babe?
Yeah, out the
You're
door.
not giving off babe energy, so you gonna get bad side Tanisha. And I try not to, and that's how I know. Like I remember I was in a relationship, and once I figured that out, when I saw myself turning to that person, I just ended it because it was just like you're gonna grow to hate me, and I don't want that. It's not
Yeah.
worth it. So I'd rather just part ways instead of being that person. So that's what I've been really practicing. Like, oh, you feel yourself about to say something crazy, stop and just
Hmm.
walk away because it's not going to get any better. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, I've definitely that's something that I feel like I'm learning in this season is when I'm around or I attract a certain type of guy and I have to give off that energy, just stay away from just actually stop talking to him right now and walk
Yeah.
away. Because my energy is saying it's a no, it's a hard no, and it's a hard listen that I have to listen to, because obviously even as a female it's like, oh, you got the attention, oh, da, 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 da. It never works out. It never
Yeah,
works out. If
yeah,
I
that's
am
true.
like very hostile, very high energy, I can't be soft and submissive and feminine, I don't want you. Cause something ain't right. Cause why am I
Yeah,
talking to you?
no,
Uh-uh.
right. Because I love, like, I met one man that I thought, I met two, but this one particular, he was the first one that I ever felt like I could be submissive to this person. And it was just like it was just a different feeling. I can't really explain it, but it was just like, it made you want to just relax. And I've
Mm-hmm.
never felt that prior to that. And I always say, like, I like that feeling. Like, it's like, you do feel safe. You got like a little bit of safety of knowing, because, being control, not controlling, but yeah, being in control. Because I've been in control of my life all my life, and
Mm-hmm.
now you got somebody, who's like, I got this. Like, I remember the first time we had went to, it's a park in Brooklyn called Canarsie Piers, and Canarsie Piers in the summertime is like banging. You got people blasting music all throughout the park. Some people might be out there playing games, fishing, and we were out there, and then, like, it was like a big bang, and normally Tanisha would go looking, and he was holding me, and when that happened, nothing within me was like, look to see what was that noise. I felt so safe in that
Yeah.
man's arms that I knew. And I always say, like, I want that type of, I want to feel like that with my husband. I don't want
Yeah.
to feel like I got to be the one. And so the last person I felt that way too. It's just like, something will happen, I got it. Like, you stay back, and it was just like, okay, I can sit back. And that's a good feeling to be in.
Yeah.
So wherever he at, he
It
fine.
bees like that. I
He
love that
told me.
you still love though. I love that
I
about you, because it
do,
took me a very hard time.
it's like, because I'm just in space. I'm in a space where I've mastered doing it alone.
Mm-hmm.
I've done everything alone. And I don't brag about these things, but I share this. I've done the buying the cars, I've done the buying the homes, getting the jobs, getting the degrees, traveling internationally solo, within the state solo. I've done all those things, and I
Mm-hmm.
and I, and I appreciate that. That was a part of my healing journey, because I could not sit and keep waiting for someone or people, even friends. But I'm like, I would love to spend that quality time with someone. Just doing the simple things. Like, when I see couples in a supermarket together, like, I be like, that's so cute. Like, I just think it's like the cutest thing, because it's like, it's just the simplest thing, and you're choosing to do it with that person. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you can't ask for anything else. Like, why would I not want that? Especially if it's a good person, not someone that's just angry and miserable. You find somebody that's loving life and doing life the way that they desire. I can't wait to meet that kind of person, because that's how
Yeah.
I'm living. And imagine two people who have that same mindset. You're gonna have a ball. You're gonna go into the supermarket. It's gonna feel like going to Disney World, because you're with someone that has the right
Yeah.
mindset, that has that's living it, and you're not. Because I'm bad at, I'll be living it, and then I'm trying to build them up to that lifestyle, and I got to stop
Yeah.
that too. I can't build everybody up to this lifestyle. You got to already want this lifestyle. You got to be already in pursuit of it. You got to be already doing it. I can't be the introduction to this lifestyle, and that's
Yeah.
the one thing I got to do for the rest of this 2026. If they're not there, they're not started, they're not ready, it's not your job. It's not my assignment.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna get into our. I already knew this was gonna be. We're gonna need a part two. We're gonna need a part two. I already knew this was gonna be a conversation. We ain't even get through half the paper, and it's okay. 'Cause I'll save it for
Well,
what
so we
my
can
other idea
schedule a
was.
part two. Okay.
It
Yeah, we can
happens.
definitely do that
Listen,
too.
I knew when we got on the call, I was like, okay. even the antsiness of me waiting for you, I'm like, I'm not getting off because I know this conversation is gonna get. You literally remind me of when I sit on the podcast and I talk to my best friend, and we be literally recording. We look up and we be like, okay, it's time to go get the kids. Like we got to go. We can't sit here and act like we just having a good old time. So I'm gonna go through the last segment, which is
Right.
basically alignment and. Oh, look at the doggy! I should have brought the dog on the camera. Now I'm in love with the dog. I want a dog so bad, but I don't want the job of a dog.
He was my he was my commitment. He was my when I said
Mm,
I'm ready to commit.
yeah. So the alignment in real life is basically like a segment that I do when I have guests, and it's pretty much rapid fire questions. So it could be one answer, 1 to 2
Okay.
word answers, but I'm going to list off a bunch of different questions and you just answer it. So the first one is, what does alignment feel like to your spirit?
Peace.
Okay, love that. What narrative
Peace.
did you stop repeating?
Anger.
Okay. What's one boundary
Anger
that
was
changed
one of the
your
things I
life?
stopped. Repeat that. You said one boundary.
What's one boundary that changed your life?
Saying no.
Yeah, I can agree.
Saying no.
Yeah.
Including to my mama. No.
The answer's no. Okay. What's something you had to release in order for you to truly grow?
Perfectionist.
Okay. What are you currently unlearning?
I am currently unlearning. It's okay to not have a goal.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay, so I wanted to touch on so much more, but I'll have you back because I knew this conversation was going to be good. I do want you to leave the audience with something that they can take away, whether it's about being stuck in old narratives, whether it's about healing, alignment. You give them a word of encouragement to end out the episode.
It's okay to want it your way. You don't have to keep trying to do it the other people's ways. And when you look at how things have been going that way, that's your that's your data right there. If you're unhappy, if you know you're miserable, you know your money is funny, the relationships are not coming, friendships, nothing that feels right. That's like a warning sign. It's time for a change. And sometimes the change is just looking at what you have been doing and start. I always say, find the one thing that you are okay with changing now, and that could be jobs, relationships, eating habits, environment. It doesn't have to be extreme. So even something as simple as eating more fruits and vegetables, that helps you to get more clarity, right? So when you
Hmm.
start doing those little small things, you start noticing and realizing what you don't like about your present life. And Sierra said it earlier, you can change. Like you can literally you always hear people say you can move to a new city and reinvent your life. But I'm also here to tell you, you don't even have to do it. It doesn't even have to be that extreme. You can reinvent yourself where you are right now, right? And
Hmm.
forget about what people say. People are like, they're gonna keep bringing up the way you used to be. They're gonna keep bringing up the old habits. As long as you don't keep falling into those old habits and you keep in pursuit of that new, and you start focusing on that new, that's all that matters. And you're going to see the change within you, and they're going to see it too, but they're not going to want to give you credit, and that's okay. Um, Embrace that and just keep on believing that God is going to bring the right people that's going to champion, that's going to cheer you on so that you can stay on that path. Because a lot of times when we get started, we tend to get that little test in the beginning to see if, are you really serious about it, and to try to get you thrown off track. Pay attention to that and just know it's just a part of the process. And then just keep moving forward. It's a beautiful life when you start not stressing about everything and not having everything on your to-do list checked off. It's okay. Life happens, and that's the beautiful part about it, is that, as long as we get the opportunity tomorrow, we can go out there and we can do something else, and we can continue to reinvent. So don't wait
Yes.
for Monday. Don't wait for January. Because you could change tomorrow. You can change tonight, right now. It's 7:52 p.m. Central Time. You can change right now wherever you are, whenever you're watching this and listening to this message.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much. This is so great. I'm so sad we gotta get off. No,
Yeah,
but
you can
seriously.
look. Just
Yeah, I definitely will connect with you when I'm done because I definitely had juices running and I can't wait to tell you, but I don't want to tell you on the podcast. So I'm gonna make sure I sit here for an
I
extra 10
understand. I
minutes
understand.
to write it out to you so that you could see because I know I need to get it off and we
Okay.
can start implementing that ASAP. But thank you so much for coming on. I
Okay.
appreciate you so much. I'm very thankful for you. This conversation has really filled me up. Like you don't even know I'm ready to go do a bunch of other stuff that I thought I was just gonna go to the gym and go lay down. I'm ready. You got me you got me amped up right now. But what I want you to do is I want you to plug in all your information so that people can find you. I will get your YouTube stuff and also your Instagram to put in the show notes, but if you could just tell it to them out loud, that would be great.
Okay. Yeah. So you can find me at okay, I'm sorry. You can find me on Instagram at Tanisha Shanee. My name, my first and middle name together. And on TikTok, I am Miss Inspiration, MISS Inspiration, the number 25 on TikTok. And YouTube is just Tanisha Shanee, so you can find me over there as well.
Thank you. And is there anything offer wise, service wise that you want to put out there that you want to let the people know that you have to offer?
I'm currently working, excuse me, I'm currently working with people that are looking to start side hustling and start making money outside of their 9 to 5 job, especially if they feel like they can't make extra money. I do have an opportunity where you can work with me, work on building either a side hustle from scratch or using one of the different resources, whether it's a digital product, it's a mobile app that you can use to make money, not just Uber Eats and DoorDash. There are so many other apps out there, and I just want to help people to create that plan so that they can achieve whatever goals that they have, whether it's being able to pay for gas right now, buy groceries, or start putting money towards buying a new car or a down payment on a house. But once you get started, that's the one thing that you're gonna need. You're gonna need the money. So we just gotta shift the mindset and start seeing all of the opportunities. So that's what I'm currently working on at the moment.
Okay.
So definitely
All right.
DMing me about that.
All right, y'all. Y'all have met Tanisha Shanee, and that's my girl. We best friends now. She don't even know it. But I hope that y'all have enjoyed this episode. I'm very excited for y'all to hear this because I feel like this one just gonna top the charts out of all the episodes. I'm being biased, but listen, I love this episode. I know y'all love this episode. And I just want y'all to share this episode. Y'all already know what I'm about to say. Share it to your mother, your brother, your sister, your cousin, whoever needs to hear this. If they are attached to old stories, old narratives in their life, and they need to start letting go so that they can become better and become a new version, then send it to them. Leave a rating and review because y'all already know without your rating and reviews, people won't hear the conversation. People won't see what's going on. So I appreciate y'all now and later because I'm sure I'll say it again. But I thank y'all so much for listening and tuning in. And until next time, bye.